Good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined by Audrey Gasteyer, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Health Connector, and Tina Ulu of the Cambridge Economic Opportunity Committee, who serves as a navigator, helping members and applicants to the Health Connector. I thought it would be important to provide you with an update on two issues. One, what's happening with SNAP, and two, what's happening with the major spike in healthcare premiums that people in Massachusetts and around this country are facing. First, I want to talk about the news that we received last night from the Senate that there was a vote to reopen the government, because this is all connected. As you hear today, we have people in Massachusetts set to see their healthcare premiums go up by as much as $25,000 in a single year. And that's because Donald Trump and the Republicans have refused to extend these tax credits, these tax subsidies that were available to people getting those benefits, those are set to expire at the end of this year. The deal last night does nothing to address those costs. And so we have a situation right now where the government was shut down for 40 days. As you know, people weren't getting their SNAP benefits. We had people who were forced to go hungry. We had people who were laid off. We had planes that wouldn't fly. And now we have a situation where nothing has been done to prevent people's healthcare costs from skyrocketing. It's total dysfunction down in Washington, D.C., and we need the President and Republicans in Congress to come back to work and make sure that there is a vote to extend those healthcare subsidies for at least another year. In the meantime, I want to make sure that people in Massachusetts know what is happening. First, an update on SNAP. As a reminder, President Trump made an unprecedented decision to not fund SNAP benefits during a federal shutdown. He's the only president in history to basically decide to starve Americans and not fund SNAP during a federal shutdown. That put over 1.1 million people in Massachusetts at risk. We took the Trump administration to court and we won. I'm grateful to Attorney General Campbell for her team's work on that. On Friday, after the court victory, I directed our team to fully apply for SNAP benefits to make sure that they were paid to everyone who was eligible to receive those benefits. As of this morning, I'm happy to report that those SNAP benefits have been fully funded. My message to every SNAP recipient out there is this: forget the noise that you're hearing from Donald Trump. Forget the noise about further appeals to the Supreme Court. I want you to know, because of the actions that we took, your SNAP benefits have been restored to your cards. Go out and buy the food that you need to feed your family. As governor, I am heartbroken to know that there were people in Massachusetts who were dealing with tremendous fear and anxiety, not knowing how they were going to feed themselves or their families. These, of course, include our seniors, kids, 21,000 veterans, people with disabilities. But as of today, those SNAP benefits are fully funded, and I want to make sure that SNAP beneficiaries are out there and using their SNAP benefits to buy food that they need to feed themselves and their families, and know that we have your back on all of this. I also have a message to everyone in Massachusetts who's been so generous in supporting our neighbors in this time of need. As you know, we worked to immediately set up a United Way response fund, and to date, in just less than 2 weeks after setting it up, we've received over $5 million into that fund. That money has been and is in the process of being distributed to food pantries and organizations around the state of Massachusetts so that we can get food to as many people as possible. I'm grateful to those who donated. That response fund is still up. So please consider, if you're able, donating to that fund. And that's important because even before SNAP was taken away, we had real issues with hunger in this state. It's why I set up the anti-hunger strike force this summer. So the need is still great. Remember, SNAP has been restored, but we still have other programs that are shut down, like Head Start, like WIC. We have federal workers who have been fired or furloughed. So there is a need across our state, and those who are in a position to continue to support our food pantries and food banks or to make a contribution to the response fund, please do that. If you need help, remember you can find resources at a site we set up. Go to mass.gov/snapfreeze, mass.gov/snapfreeze. And you can also contact your local food pantry and ask for their help. But I'm just so grateful to the generosity in this moment. We're going to continue to need it from the people of Massachusetts. The second issue I wanted to talk about is the huge spikes that people are seeing in their healthcare costs. In Massachusetts, the Health Connector serves over 400,000 people, including small business owners all across the state. The enrollment period has already begun, and people are now taking a look at their budgets and looking at their options for next year. But what happened is President Trump and congressional Republicans refused to extend those premium subsidies. Those premium subsidies now expire the end of this calendar year. The credits are now gone. That means that 330,000 residents in Massachusetts will see their premiums skyrocket come January 1st by as much as $25,000 a year per person, per household. A couple of examples of this impact. A 62-year-old couple living in Peabody who earns $85,000 a year currently pays $900 a month in healthcare premiums. They will now have to pay nearly $2,100 a month as a result of this. That's an increase of $1,200 every single month. I don't know how people can begin to afford that. I think about the single mom, 40 years old, living in Worcester, earning $25,000 a year. She's currently paying $11 a month for health care. And as of January, that's going to go up to $53 a month, which is a nearly 400% increase in her budget. Again, I don't know how Americans and people in Massachusetts are going to be able to afford these just budget-busting, skyrocketing healthcare costs. So, frankly, this is a disaster. It's coming at a time when people can least afford it. This is the result of a decision and a choice that Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have made, putting their own political agenda over the needs of their constituents. And at a time when the president and folks in Congress should be doing all they can to drive costs down, they are driving costs up. That is going to hurt people in Massachusetts. It's going to hurt Americans across this country. We're going to keep as much pressure on the president and members of Congress as we can to get this done, to get a vote to extend these tax credits for another year at least. They need to fix this. They need to act now. Again, people are planning their budgets. They're trying to figure out during this period of enrollment what they should do, whether there's any option for them to get health care coverage. And so Congress and the president need to act immediately to restore and extend these healthcare subsidies. I call on them to do that. I call on them to do their jobs.
2 weeks, our members have been getting notices about their eligibility and premiums for 2026, almost all of which include increases fueled by the inaction around extending enhanced premium tax credits. Our members are paying attention, and in many cases, they are reeling. Open enrollment began on November 1st, so we're just over a week in. But already we are hearing the palpable frustration, concern, and worry as members face incredibly difficult choices. Our call center agents and other frontline assisters are hearing from worried members, young working parents, small business owners, people with complex medical conditions, concerned and confused about the information they're receiving. Some are choosing lower cost plans, even if it means having to switch doctors. Some are rolling the dice, picking plans with higher out-of-pocket costs they hope they don't need to spend. Some are so shocked by an increase their household budget just can't absorb that they simply don't know what to do and are waiting and hoping for the tax credits to be extended. During this open enrollment, more than any other in the last decade, the Health Connector is doing everything we possibly can to help support people trying to stay covered. We've been communicating with our members since August and will continue to do so, encouraging them to make sure their accounts are fully updated and that they shop for a plan and stay covered during this open enrollment. We have help available through our customer service center. Members can call 877-MA-ENROLL and get answers to their questions about their 2026 coverage. We also have navigators like Tina at the Cambridge Economic Opportunity Committee. We have navigators in 50 locations around the state with knowledgeable, experienced staff ready to meet with members one-on-one to provide guidance in 30 different languages at no cost. The right path forward is an extension of the enhanced premium tax credits. If Congress takes action, the Health Connector is ready to move mountains to deliver to members the premium support they deserve as nimbly and rapidly as possible. We have a contingency playbook for such a pivot at the ready. But we encourage members to reach out now, get the help they need, and find a plan for next year. And if things change, we will let them know right away and help them take whatever action necessary. Members can also keep aware of the latest by visiting our website at mahealthconnector.org/updates, where we have compiled resources and news about how federal policy is affecting coverage for 2026 and what we can do to help. We stand ready to support residents during this challenging period and are grateful to the Governor, the Commonwealth, and our whole healthcare community as we continue to fight for affordable health coverage for our residents and make sure they know the Health Connector has their back.
Thank you, Audrey, and thank you, Governor Healey, for having me here today, but also for addressing this important issue, which has left so many of our clients shell-shocked and totally overwhelmed. My name is Tina Alou, and I'm the Executive Director of Cambridge Economic Opportunity Committee, the anti-poverty agency in Cambridge. We serve as one of the Health Connector's Navigator organization. Each year, we help hundreds of Cambridge residents find affordable health insurance. But this year, we're all reeling by the premium increases people are seeing and the choices that they're being forced to make because the enhanced premium tax credits have not been extended. Let me tell you a little bit about what we've been experiencing on the front line. For weeks, we've been receiving calls from people who were panicking after they received correspondence from the Health Connector with initial information on the cost of their plan for next year due to the federal changes. And although open enrollment is just a week old, we are already seeing in person the terrible impacts that the loss of enhanced tax credits is having on people. Some people are losing their Connector Care coverage, which creates a double whammy, as that they are not only looking at a significantly higher premium, but they're also facing a deductible and out-of-pocket costs that they don't have in the Connector Care plan. This alone increases their health care costs by thousands of dollars. We've worked with a woman who was able to stay in Connector Care, but with the loss of her enhanced premium tax credit, could no longer afford her current health insurance plan. Forced to move to a lower cost plan with a different network in which her longtime doctors aren't included, she now needs to find new specialists to treat her chronic health condition. This is even more difficult since her current providers recently shared positive news about the status of her illness. The idea of having to change from the doctors that she trusts left her in tears. A family of 3 in Connector Care earning $60,000 a year is seeing their premium increase by $300 a month. These are people who own a small business, are working hard every day, and are now paying more than $3,500 additionally a year for their health insurance. People shouldn't be put in a situation of choosing between paying for food and rent or maintaining their health insurance. With the cost of groceries skyrocketing at this minute and the SNAP benefits, which were pending, and the holidays coming up, many of our clients are totally overwhelmed and don't know what to do. We're trying to help people find a path forward, but many are waiting, hoping for good news about an extension so they can avoid making some of the tough choices that others have already made. Over the 10 years that we have been navigators, we have always told our participants how lucky we are to live in a state where our elected officials have continued to prioritize the health of their residents. This year is no exception. Thank you again, Governor Healey, for supporting our clients and all the people who truly need and deserve these tax credits to be extended so they can continue to receive the affordable care that they desperately need.
Court. Can you say with certainty that where we're at right now?
I think the law is really clear. Multiple courts have already ruled on this issue. President Trump needs to do his job and fully fund SNAP benefits. My job is to protect the people of Massachusetts. My job is to work with my team, as we did, to go to court, to fight for them, to make sure that we were ready to go and cards were loaded over the weekend, so that as soon as this funding became available, we were able to get that funding out the door. And we're going to continue to do that. The president may have made a choice to starve Americans, but I'm not going to let that happen here in Massachusetts. I'm confident that whatever routes they try to take, if they continue to pursue this, I mean, how cruel is it in the face of so many clear court decisions, the president and his administration would attempt to appeal this? That just is unbelievable to me. So I don't know what they're planning to do, but we know the law is clear on this, and we're going to make sure that people continue to get their SNAP benefits.
Governor, he is threatening to punish states. He wants states that have already given out these benefits to undo that. Are we going to get hit with a bill?
He may threaten to punish states. I'm not going to punish residents. I'm not going to punish Americans.
Are
Can you
worried that
clarify,
the
Governor,
federal
how much-
government
I'm
will
sorry.
claw back any federal money because of this threat from this, USDA memo? I mean, concerned that they'll come for money that's already been.
It's pretty cruel in the first instance to deny funding to Americans. If Donald Trump is now going to go and take back funding from Americans, all of whom were poor enough to qualify for SNAP, I just find that unimaginable, even hard to believe for as callous as Donald Trump is.
Governor, can you clarify how much we've been funded? Is it through November? And then also, if you could just expand on what do you think the government should do as far as this vote coming up? That should we reopen without these protection for the healthcare?
Well, a couple things. One, SNAP has been ordered to be fully funded and on a going forward basis, and we're going to continue to act accordingly, and DTA is ready with a vendor to continue to process benefits for which people are eligible. So SNAP is fully funding. Again, SNAP beneficiaries, make sure you go out and buy the food that you need to feed your families. Look, I'm glad the government reopened. I am very distressed and concerned that that happened without securing any effort to make sure that we were preventing healthcare costs from skyrocketing around this country. What needs to happen now is Republicans and the president need to get back together in Congress and work through a vote to make sure that these tax credits are extended so that people have health insurance, so that they don't come December see their health insurance go away. People in America, people in Massachusetts can't afford to see their family budget go up by $25,000 a year to pay for health care coverage. So they need to act immediately to take steps to prevent skyrocketing health care costs in Massachusetts and around this country.
Governor, how much do you blame?
Only called them in 12 out of the last 120 days. I mean, they're not even in DC to do the work. So I hope they get back there now, work with their Democratic colleagues, and that the president do what he needs to do and do his job, because right now it's chaos. I don't know how much more the American people can take, okay? The president promised that he was going to lower costs. Grocery costs are higher than ever. He has done nothing but create chaos and uncertainty, from what's happening in the skies to things not functioning on the ground. Look at all the federal workers who've been laid off. Here in Massachusetts, I can tell you we've had hundreds of federal workers apply for unemployment insurance. We had federal workers who never contemplated going to a food pantry line up at Massachusetts food pantries this weekend. This is Donald Trump. This is the world he's created. I hope he takes a read from the election results last week, which really were a rejection of his failed economic policies, and that he start to step up and do what's right by the American people. And I really hope that happens.
Governor, if the vote on the
Governor,
tax credits isn't immediate, they're talking about, 40 days, what would that mean for people who are going through open enrollment and making?
That's just the thing. I mean, people, you can have politicians in Washington or the president who, seems to have little touch with reality, which is why I guess he throws Great Gatsby parties on the same weekend that he's starving Americans, or, is so fixated on building ballrooms and renovating bathrooms at a time when he's laying off federal workers and grocery prices are as high as they've ever been. They've got to act now, though, because the rest of us, Americans, we live in the present. And right now, people are trying to figure out their budgets. They're trying to plan for next year. They're trying to figure out, oh my God, my healthcare costs are going to go up 10, 15, 20,000 next year. How am I going to make that work? I'm only going to make that work by not doing other things, or I'm going to go without health insurance. So that's why the action needs to happen now. Not only does healthcare expire for 337,000 Massachusetts residents the end of December, which is just weeks away, but we have people real time right now trying to figure out their family budgets, which is why I call on the President and Congress to get there, to get a vote. Let's extend these tax credits for another year. It seems to me that at a time when costs are out of control around this country and Americans are suffering and are fed up, just extend these tax credits and sort out other things over time. But don't double down on people's pain in Massachusetts or around this country.
Governor,
Governor,
can you
any
just
people not
clarify?
receive SNAP
Governor,
benefits?
Sorry, just a second. Chris, and then
can you just clarify, what was it federal on SNAP? Was it federal dollars the state already had in hand that you sent out?
No, it's
Can you
federal.
clarify?
Yeah, the way it works is USDA makes available federal funds. We apply for those funds through a vendor. That's what we did, working steadily overnight. Huge credit to our teams who were positioned and ready to go to make sure that application was in, and that's how funds were able to flow starting Saturday.
Has anybody not received their SNAP funding yet, or were certain people supposed to receive it this week? Are they still in line to receive it?
You're
Or
right.
every-
You're right that there is a timeline for when people receive SNAP. I can tell you that anybody who has been eligible to receive SNAP to date or who missed their payments last week has received their SNAP benefits now. And we'll continue to apply for and send out SNAP benefits as people become eligible over the coming days and months. In the normal course, that's how it works in the normal course.
Governor, does the state of
right now, as a result of Trump's climate policies, there's a plan.
Can I just, let's see if there's any other on-topic questions.
Yes, question. So does the state of Massachusetts have a contingency plan if, in fact, the Republicans in Congress do not vote to extend health care? You're talking about all of these families. You're just giving us specifics of people's rates going up. So what do people do, and how does Massachusetts help them to avoid these problems?
All we can do is work with our navigators and the Health Connector to try to get people into lower cost plans, but no state can handle this. No state can make up for this, which is why Congress and the President need to act. The President suggested that he was going to pay for people's health care. I have no idea what he's talking about. He's just making stuff up. But the point is, all that needs to happen is Congress and the President need to get back to work, and they need to vote and ensure that these tax credits are extended for another year. Very simple. That's all that needs to happen, and it needs to happen now.
Response to that, do you support doing that right now?
I haven't seen the outlines of any specific plan on that. What I will tell you, I have made energy a top priority, and right now we need to see action on my energy affordability bill.
Would that include dialing
We're
back?
talking about healthcare costs. We're also talking about housing costs, which I've worked hard to try to bring down, produce more homes over the last 3 years. We've brought 100,000 homes online, 100,000 housing starts as a result of the actions that I've taken, reducing healthcare costs, reducing housing costs, and reducing energy costs. So I'm going to continue to work with the legislature on this. I think the key is doing what I've asked for in our legislation. Let us as a state work with other states in procuring and purchasing more energy so that we get more energy into the region, and with that, we can lower energy costs. There are other things in that legislation that will right now help us reduce energy costs. That's what we've got to focus on. That's what we've got to do.
The Supreme Court has denied review same-sex marriage. What were your thoughts when you saw that today?
Thank God. It's so upsetting to me to see this issue attempted to be relitigated. And, the Supreme Court shut it down for now with this one denial of cert. I'd imagine, though, that there are going to be forces out there that are going to continue to try to challenge marriage equality across America, and I think, you'll continue to see them met with equal force by those of us who support the freedom to marry for all Americans. So, I think Massachusetts, to be clear, we will always protect and ensure that everyone in the state has an equal right to marriage. On the federal level, I hope that continues to be the law, and Massachusetts will stand shoulder to shoulder with others in making that so.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.